Hello, and welcome to the podcast powered by Factum. I'm your guest host, Wade Borth, joined today by David Zapata in our Arizona office. I'm actually up in the Fargo, North Dakota office. So jokingly say that I'm doing anything wrong. I'm not serving a sentence. I actually choose to live here. So,
Pleasure to be with you again, Wade. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet, David. So we talked this podcast. We talked about the why powered by Factum is so strong. Yeah, we went into a lot of different reasons, and we're going to touch on those a little bit again because, again, it's important for us and for everybody to understand what our why is in whatever we do in life, and that is really just to empower people to be to the maximum potential of their lives and their passions that they can absolutely be. So that's the why, and we're going to get into a little bit now on how does that happen, right? So it goes back to Simon Sinek's The Golden Circle. And so we just want to touch on that. So what we have here is what we call our Factum model. And David, maybe you want to speak to this just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no, I love that. Our objective with this podcast, with our company, Kyle says this in the intro of the podcast, is to create leaders in the insurance industry. And one of the things we use to model that is high-performing organizations models. So at the top, you'll see here 3 of our core values for that we interface with our client, the agents. We do development of leaders. Stronger together, that's one of the probably values that you most commonly hear us talk about, 1 + 1 = 11, not 2. Intentional growth, we are very intentional about using the word intentional, particularly when it comes to growth. And then infinite thinking, the idea that we think in long term, the idea that we recognize that putting our heads together produces exponentially greater results than individually we are capable of. So a lot of times we get asked, okay, but why Factum? What does that even mean? And Factum is a word that pretty defined as the statement of facts. We're in the business of telling the truth, reducing noise, and making statements that help people think so they can define what's true for them, what's best for them, not the right or wrong. And within that, we've created an acronym with this high-performing organization model for the Factum Max Potential with individual letters. So I'll read through them, but I think to talk about golden circles, the how and the what we accomplish that development of leaders, it will be really useful to go through every single one of them. So for the F, we talk about focusing on success, focus on success. For the A, we're talking about authentic leadership. It's another one of our core values and initiatives. The letter C is compelling vision. We're very clear, particularly in our 5-circle vision. T is for training and coaching, which is one of the focuses for you, Wade, in particular, with all your experience and your focus on developing other people, which is something I really admire about you. U is unrelenting innovation. Is some of my favorite things we do at Factum, constantly having thoughtful discussions on how to make the conversation more relevant, more impactful, innovating in that. And then the last one, mutually own, a company that we all participate in profits, just like the companies that we represent, insurance companies, are structured. So we should have a conversation about this how and what.
Yeah, well, thank you, David, for going through that. So I'm just going to take each one of these, break them down real quick.
Sure.
How do we focus on success? I hear a lot of people talk about that. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. There's actually a standing meeting that we have. Not that the meeting is the most important thing, but the purpose of that is to make you or you, David, or me, Wade, or whatever agent is out there looking for a home and saying, first, we want you to define what success looks like for you. Mm-hmm. It's not success for us. It's not success for Factum. It's success for you. And then helping you focus on those activities, those things that you can do to bring that kind of success that you want, that's your ideal world, to the forefront. Mm-hmm. And those things, that's noise around that, and helping you eliminate all those things that are just noise by leveraging our systems, leveraging our process, leveraging our people to allow you to do those things that can make you successful. And your definition of success will be different than anybody else's definition of success. And again, we touched on this on a previous podcast where we talked about, we start with that, say, we want you to be the greatest leader that you have in your life. Because mm-hmm. once you're there, then you might want to lead a group. You might want to lead other agents. You might want to mentor. But we have to start with you being successful in your business before you can do all those other things. So that's kind of where we start. And that's why I really believe that The focus on success is the focus on, really should probably say focus on your success, because that's the real key. And then helping you identify what that looks like, because a lot of people in this industry, in this business, if you say, what does success look like for you? They just really haven't given a lot of thought. They're kind of out there a little bit rudderless, and they're drifting, and it's hard to drift to a desired location. So we help you focus in on what that desired location is, and that really comes back down to the compelling vision. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So anything you wanted to add to that, David?
I find it very unique, Wade, in my experience working in corporate America. When you join an organization professionally, usually what happens is the organization has a particular destination they're going to, and every single person joining the organization has to align to that and then see how that benefits their individual goals and aspirations. And I think that there's something special about the fact that the success of Factum is actually maximized through the expression of your potential individually, that then adds to the bottom line of how all of us together at Factum benefit society and the things that we're trying to build. So the fact that we all focus on individual, unique expression of our potential is very special, very unique. I did not find that in my previous career experience, and I'm very grateful for that, because I get to be, again, the director of my own movie and how I contribute to the success of the whole organization.
Yeah, and I think just to that point, to what you're saying, I've been in the insurance business long enough, I've been around. We don't see a lot of that in our industry either. There's a lot of people, success is measured by where the company goes, not by what you've succeeded in.
Yes.
And my hope and my belief, and I know this to be true, is like if we all have this compelling vision, and again, we don't always have to be 100% aligned in values, but we all are sitting there like, here's my value, here's your value, David, here's what everybody in the leadership team of Factum, here's their values. If we're in alignment to at least 60 or 7% of where we want to go, then we go there together, and much more fun and exciting and a much higher level.
Yes.
So
Yes. Agreed.
all right, let's talk about authentic leadership. What I love about this is that there's no leadership team that will ask you to do something we haven't already done. I think that really starts there. The authentic leadership is, holding myself accountable because I ask people to hold me accountable. If you want to be held accountable, we'll hold you accountable so you can, go back to the, focus on success, so you can find success in your life and have that abundance in your 5 areas. Mm-hmm. And again, I go back to it's not about dollars. It's really not about anything else. But I'm a firm believer that again, those 5 areas that we've talked about many times, that we want abundance in those areas. Mm-hmm. And we're not hitting them. I was listening to Monty talk today. He was opening up. He says, "Hey, to be honest, I didn't have this skill set, so I had to go find this skill set." And he's part of our leadership team that's telling you that he also has to work in. He also has areas that he needs to develop in. And quite frankly, I want to make sure I'm always developing and always growing, because Nelson talked about that in his book. Do you have the arrival syndrome? I'll say this, I made a mention, I've been in the industry for 35 years. There's a lot of people that believe they have the arrival syndrome. And quite frankly, I don't want to be judged on what I did the last 35 years. Mm-hmm. I want to be judged on what I'm going to do the next 35 years.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be about right. It's about enough of you. So, but that's the point, is that we want to be judged on what we're going to do going forward, not what we've done, right? So if you think about them, the standpoint of in the NFL, the potential. They don't get drafted on what they did in college. They get drafted on what their potential is. And so what we try to do is, we know where I've come from. Most of the leadership does. We understood, where our pain points were, and like, hey, let's address that pain point, because we've been there. And if we can free up people's time, the most valuable asset and resource we have is our time. This finite amount of time we're on this earth before we graduate. Mm-hmm. And not have people trading that valuable to put together a process or whatever it might be. Let us take that off their plate so they can go and take every moment that they're on this earth and be living to their maximum potential. So that's the authentic leadership, is that we want everybody to have that abundance in their lives, and we want to be as open and honest about what we're doing as anybody out there.
Yeah. Makes me think of one of our mentors, people that are in our community. When we do the blueprint process, I know you and I have both been part of that, right? But it goes to the point of, we recognize that only my people will be able to hear my message in ways that I'm only able to communicate. And that is true for you, Wade, and that is true for every member of our community. And from that recognition, I think there's the embracing of the fact that, as a group, we're stronger because of our unique ways to express the message. So,
Yep,
absolutely.
100%. Yep. So let's talk about compelling vision. This one is huge because, again, I said it earlier, there are a lot of people out there that don't know where they're going. They don't have and they might say, hey, this is kind of where I want to go, or I think I want to be here. This is, small vision. And when you have those rudderless ships, that's just what you're going to get. So what we try to do is have you determine what that compelling vision is in your life, not our compelling vision. I mean, our compelling vision is serving 1 million people, 1 million clients served. I mean, think about how big that is. I mean, we have a lot of clients right now. We have a couple thousand clients, but it's a small drop in the bucket to get to 1 million. But we know that the compact will start taking place.
Yeah.
As we add people to our, to we start becoming more efficient at how we meet with clients and how we can serve them the best way possible. We know that that's going to be exponential. We're going to see some exponential growth coming there. So we know our compelling vision, and what we do is strive towards that compelling vision. And that's why it's so important to have that vision, because then you know every day why you're doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And when you have that compelling vision, it actually gives you a lot of freedom. It sounds like it's really constricting, but it gives you a lot of freedom because you get up in the morning, you know that everything you're going to do is going to serve that purpose.
Yeah, it's a really profound effect. Even like for, in our culture and our business, not a lot of us talk about retirement. Actually, none of us probably talk about retirement because the vision is so large and is so compelling that it seems worthy of our time for a long time in our lifetime. That sounds
Yeah.
a funny thing to say, right? But I don't see a day where I will not be committed to sharing this with the next family, the next business owner, and bring that value to them. That's how important it is. And you say that one of our objectives is to serve 1 million families. It is so compelling to me because I start visioneering the world around me when that's true and what it looks like for my kids, for example. What is it going to be for my 2 boys when every neighbor in our community actually thinks that it's very normal and common to have private solutions for private banking and whole life as a place to store their savings.
Yeah.
That is a place where you're talking about different value set, different relationship with money, stewardship, leadership. They're talking about certainty. They're talking about completely different things that I was talking about at that age or throughout my life, to be honest, until this point. I think it's compelling because it becomes a clear connection between the things that we do today, one family at a time, with the world we potentially can be created through the service we offer. And that, I think, drives a lot of our team forward every day to commit to it on a lifelong journey.
Yeah, that's a great point. Imagine waking up every day and going, hey, everybody around me thinks similar to what I think. And versus thinking the exact opposite of what I think, or I'm the lone wolf or I'm the lone ranger, whatever it might be. So that compelling vision. The really interesting part about that too, David, is when you first say it, you're like, well, that's the dumbest thing in the world. How in the heck are we ever going to do that? But if you can suspend that, detach from that itself and say, that's what my vision is, that's what we want to do. The funny thing is your subconscious and your brain, your body finds a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because if we believe that's going to happen, then your brain starts kind of going backwards and like say, well, let's find a way to make it happen. And the old way, what we used to do, probably isn't going to get it done.
Yes.
So now we're finding new and innovative ways to make it happen. And that goes back down to unrelenting innovation. That has to be part of a compelling vision.
Yes.
Because if you say, hey, as an agent, if I say, I want, I'm going to write 300 policies per year. And the most you ever done in the previous years was 100. Mm-hmm. Can you work 3 times harder, David?
No, you don't have 3 times a day, 24 hours in a day, right?
Well, I would hope you don't. Because if you have the ability to work 3 times harder, then you have to question how hard you're really working today.
True.
So the idea of having that compelling vision, and also now we have to find new solutions to, I wouldn't say a problem, but new solutions to ways that we've been doing it that have been holding us back. So compelling vision opens up a lot of doors and actually frees us from a lot of contemporary constraints, and it allows us to think differently and to bring some innovation and some process and understand leverage and do things maybe that we wouldn't have done because, hey, we were comfortable writing 50 policies a year because that was what I was told I should be able to do, and that's probably the most I would be able to write. Well, if you wipe that out, and I was like, let's find a way to make that happen on a much bigger scale because now we have other ways of making it happen.
Yeah. You said something there that I think is a perfect segue to the next two. You said the world we are imagining with that compelling vision potentially or very likely is not made with the same skills and the behaviors we had before, which I think leads to the conversation about why training and coaching focus and why unrelenting innovation. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, training and coaching. There's typically activity and a skill set, right? Those are the two things that will, confidence and conviction, whatever you want to call it. These are things that we train and coach on. It's either you have a lack of skill set, which quite frankly is the easiest, or what you're doing from an activity standpoint isn't enough. So we can help you understand what that is and give you some processes and tools, techniques, and leverage a bunch of different things to make that activity the proper activity, not just activity for the sake of activity, but activity with passion. And so if you're doing activity with passion, and that's probably the thing that I can't coach and I can't teach people is what is your passion? You have to find that in yourself. But once you find that passion in yourself and you're committed and you're all in, what my job is and what my passion is to grow, coaches and mentors to help, I can't reach 1 million people on my own. Imagine if I had, 10,000 agents all doing the max potential they could do. Can we hit 1 million people to be served? You better believe it.
Yeah.
And so it's through that passing along of knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Again, do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. I told somebody I was mentoring the other day, I was coaching, I said, I learned more from you than you probably ever learned from me. And that's always my attitude because each of us has a separate set of skills. If I'm mentoring you, David, I don't want to create a mini me. I just want you to create the best version of you.
Yeah.
That's the true measure of mentorship. And so our compelling vision drives us to know that we can't get there by ourselves.
Yeah. I contrast this with my previous experience. I've been part of a lot of leadership training and certainly obviously in our culture, a culture of when you seek the right spaces in other companies and other industries. I think something unique here again is, how do you design that training program, that coaching program to have the person's transformation first in mind? That's the ultimate goal, right? So we're not necessarily doing this because then that person becomes the cog in the machine that fits this particular step or this process, but instead it's like, what if we unfold the fact that you may not see it today, but you are incredible at teaching this from a stage weight. So all the training, all the coaching we do is to make you a better speaker, a more confident individual, and then you go and succeed in that level that you're capable of that makes us all better, elevates our game. I think there's a nuance, again, in the way we are designing these programs, the way you're doing your coaching. I am a consumer of your coaching. I am your mentee, right? So I understand that every time we spend time together having these conversations, and you probably see the results on a monthly, quarterly basis, it increases my effort, my confidence, it increases my conviction, my skill set, and we start serving more families at a better, higher quality level that likely I will be able to also pass on to the next person that comes and joins our team. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, think how awful that is to again, this is my perspective of it. If I look back at the years of experience and knowledge and just the skin knees I had, all that stuff that I've gone through, and I take that to my grave, and I haven't shared that with anybody. How selfish of me is that, right?
Yeah.
Versus thinking from the abundance mindset of, I love being able to pour into people those things that I've learned, either the hard way, the easy way, just through osmosis, whatever it might be. The fact that I can take it now, I can pour that into you, because ultimately my measure of success is if in a short time that you're much wiser and much better at this process than I am. That's my ultimate measure of success.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd say I'd love to have 500 people that are way more successful than I've ever been, in the next 2 or 3 years, because then I know I've done my job. I've empowered you to be that, and it's your success. It's not my success that we'll celebrate. But my measure of success is like if you get to the point where you move beyond, and then now you're taking that same knowledge and pouring it to somebody else with your flair to it and your understanding of it. So how much more powerful it can be, and that's going to be the compound effect of doing this.
Yes.
Is that we see that a good training and coaching program, because there's so much to learn in this business. And I just make this note for anybody that listens to this: don't be afraid to engage in a mentorship. Don't be afraid to buy coaching or to be involved in coaching. Is it with us or somebody else? I really don't care. I do care. If you're in alignment with us, I would love to have you with Factum. But if it's not, you have to go find what's right for you.
Yeah.
But the point I would make here is this: is that training and coaching shorten the time frame it takes for you to understand and to be effective in your trade, in your craft.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are afraid to engage a mentorship because they might have to give up something. But those people have a scarcity mindset versus those that want to give up something to get a much bigger reward. And at the end of the day, we have to say, how does it help your bottom line? How does it help your net income? Are you more successful, even though maybe you have a lower contract or you've done a lot of split cases or whatever it might be? Don't go into it with a scarcity mindset. Go into it with an abundance mindset to where, quite frankly, David, I can see you and I working together forever.
Yeah.
Because we have such a great working relationship. I love when my clients have a conversation with you because you're saying things differently than how I would say it, because you have your own unique voice, and now they're hearing it a little bit differently, maybe for the first time.
Exactly the reason why, it blurs the lines between work and fun and creative outlet and all these other things that make up now the definition of purpose when we talk about community and business. And one thing you said there that I wanted to bring up to the conversation really quick and maybe connects with the unrelenting innovation. One of the questions we ask our clients early on that we call the wealth scorecard is, how much of your income are you investing in your number one asset, being yourself and your development? And for the purposes of Power by Factum, this is not just a conversation we take on an understanding intellectual level. Oh, this is fun to think and talk about. This is a very practical concept that we share with our agents. Out of the revenue you produce in your business, how much are you reinvesting in your number one asset of your business, yourself? Meaning, and the recommendation we make is 10%. That's what I've adopted myself. But am I taking 10% of my revenue and going to places, mentorship, relationship, masterminds, development, coaching, communication, marketing tools, to reinvest on how do I develop myself in being a better leader for the next stage of the game? I think this is a very thoughtful conversation, again, we have with the focus in mind, which is how do you become a better you?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the fun part about it is we have a ton of that set up within Factum.
Yeah.
We have a mentorship program already. I mean, this is the fun part, is if you want to get into the part like, hey, I want to bring my skill set as being a great mentor. Okay, that's great. We have a place for you. Or I'm like, I want to go out and I want to meet and write 200, 300 applications per year. But I need a team and I need somebody to mentor how that we can find somebody to join with. Or you need to grow a team. We can help you do that. The point I guess I'm getting is that you can go scale this all, on your own. Nothing here that we talk about is somebody already hasn't developed one piece or another. Mm-hmm. What I find it really intriguing and what brought me to Factum, what brought me to this idea that I want to be part of it was all here. All the pieces that we need are here. Now, you can choose if you want to use them or not, but they're all here. And eventually you might choose them all. It doesn't have to be all or nothing right away. It could just be, I want to take this training and coaching, and then I'm going to use some of their innovation. I'm going to create my own compelling vision. I want to go out and create my own shop. I want to create my own brand. Well, hey, that's great. But in the meantime, until you get there, you have a whole system you can just plug into for a couple dollars.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to give up production. You don't have to set your production aside in order to put this all together. It's already there.
Stand the shoulders of people that come behind you, and then eventually you give it your unique spin and you become you. Absolutely.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
Now, unrelenting innovation. This is probably more your bailiwick there, David. You love innovation. We love having you in the innovation side. Love having these conversations. So maybe speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think this first of all is a mindset, right? Is are we capable of convincing ourselves even the things that are not here yet that we need to execute that goal of 1 million families? Can we believe that we are capable of making those things a reality, hold them in our hands before they're here so we can keep pushing forward? And when you think about serving 1 million families, Kyle, for example, talks about having an agency with 5,000 agents, full-time agents, completely capable of producing $250,000 a year. Like that's a compelling vision. That's a big thing. But what that also means is that today we need to develop the mindset, processes, and platforms that can serve 5,000 agents without having a hiccup in the business. And that requires, again, a compelling vision and a mindset of, okay, let's make the world that we want to have here possible through our work today. So we're constantly at Factum working on innovation. How can we make the messages that we've learned from different sources, the mentorship, the training, more compelling to the consumer, things more easy to be understood? So we are constantly updating our content in video and slides, bringing new idea connections. All of us are sitting in other masterminds where we're curating more content, more ideas, how to connect infinite banking or whole life with the frameworks for experts. We are bringing other minds to bring to make the thought more accurate, right? And then eventually it makes its way into our processes and tools from the beginning on how do we even interface with the clients, right? For new agents, how do you have a place where you can contact people, store their information, make sure that you have easy ways to interface with them to deliver values? We have the Beat the Bank's page, a fantastic CRM. All this technology allows you to leverage the tools that we have here with your community, and then you increase in sophistication from them. How about to help families that have large portfolios of policies aggregate all that data in a single tool that they can see what the effect overall of their cash value growth or their assets and liability, how all these things interface to make the family be in a better financial position, more importantly, and a more abundant life in all areas of life. So
Yeah.
these are the conversations we're bringing that we see are nuance and new elements to the industry, to the community that maybe nobody in the past have necessarily fulfilled. And through innovating, putting our heads together, putting this new tools and processes, continues to move forward. And the thing is, wait, it's never going to stop. So it's a compound effect. Where we are today is very early. And the tools we have today, as nice as they look, are a very small prototype of where we're going in the future, which is a really exciting thing to also think about. How much better 10 years from now is going to be to look back and laugh at the things this image that I'm showing you on screen, right? How much better is going to be in the future as we add more innovation, more talent. We likely don't have the most talented, more intelligent people in our community yet. They may be not even born yet.
Right.
So that's an exciting future.
Yeah, and I go back to the top of this slide here. This picture is like, stronger together. That doesn't happen on our own, right? Let's find a way to do it together. Intentional growth. Just to what you said, to build a CRM that can serve and help bring value to 5,000 agents. That has to be done intentionally. You're not going to do that just by, think about rays from the sun. This is going back to my junior high physics, right? Rays from the sun that hit the earth they're very direct. They're not haphazard, because if they're haphazard, they're going to miss the mark.
Yes.
And so we have to have intentional growth to get where we want to go. And the idea, but with that, you have to have this infinite thought, like, oh, how do we serve 5,000? I mean, who would even think about that? How do we bring value to 1 million people, 1 million families? So it all kind of ties together. And then the last one here is mutually owned. So what does that really mean? It just means that we're ran, and we've had people from home offices tell us this. Like, this is like one of the things that absolutely blows our mind, that we're willing to create an organization that is owned for the benefit of the agents that are contributing to the agency. That's unheard of. This is unheard of in industry. People that we shared this with, absolutely the jaws drop to the ground when we talk about this, because we want profitability to go back to those that are contributing to make it happen.
Yeah.
And this will be the perpetual part of Factum. It's not going to start and stop. because we know that that's not an effective measure. This is going to be perpetual. It's going to start rolling and getting downhill, and it's never going to stop, because everybody that's there today and 10 years from now and 20 years from now are all going to say, I helped build that and I get benefits from that through a profit share and through the fact that they have input, and they have, their efforts and their success generates the success of Factum as well, not the other way around.
Yeah, we need to take example of the beauty around us, particularly our partners, the insurance carriers, right? Ideas that are 200 years old, back to the inception of our country, purely set up on American values of independence and self-reliance. The idea of whole life itself, two parties making a commitment to each other in a private contract saying we will offer protection under these conditions. And then we get a large group of people, we protect a community. And we do that all in the benefit of the same people participating, the policyholders. That at the core is the idea of being mutually owned. And it is different at Factum for that same idea. The people contributing to the growth and the servicing of those million or more families eventually are the people building that future we're creating, and there should be part of the profitability and the ownership of that growth that we are going to experience. So we are learning from giants. We are learning from their success. It is no coincidence that all these mutual insurance companies pay dividends for 130, 140 years consecutively through wars, depressions, financial crisis, because they're doing this in a mindset for longevity, for the benefit of the community. And we want to reflect a company that matches those values.
Yeah, and to that's kind of what I hear you saying is like, that's why we only work with mutual insurance companies, because they have a similar set of values that we're trying to emulate.
Exactly right.
Thinking long term, like Nelson used to teach us, right? That infinite thinking.
Absolutely.
That's only done if you can have a system and an organization that can match that same vision.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, David, thank you so much for this. This was good. I loved this conversation. I loved being able to talk about who we are at Factum, our why in a previous podcast, and how. Right. So these are all things. Go to factumfinancial.com to find out. Is this maybe a home for you? If you're looking for a community to help support you to do what you can, to make you the best that you can be. Or if you're saying, hey, I want to be able to grow my business, but I need some support, I need a system, I need a process, whatever it is. And if you're anywhere, really at any level, but mentorship and a community can help you grow no matter where you're at.
Yes.
If you're in a position where you say, I feel stuck, come out and take a look. Let's see if we can help you grow, not just 5 or 10%, but maybe there's ways that we can grow at an infinite level. So factumfinancial.com, check it out. Thanks so much for your time today, David.
Thank you for having me.
All right.